Greetings, ciao. It is April 17th, 2016. This is the first day of beginning getting some reflection here. Drawing of, let me move this here, tilt that, there we go. Cut down in the overhead fluorescent reflection. Just beginning the drawing of Sandro Delmastro, who age 20, I assume they were the same age. Primo Levi was born in 1919, so this would have been 1939. Sandro Delmastro and Primo Levi were friends, hiking buddies. Delmastro was Christian, I'm assuming. He was not Jewish, Italian. He was murdered later on, and Levi wrote beautifully about their friendship and about this strenuous mountain hike they did in the chapter called Iron in the periodic table, which is a wonderful read and very accessible. And so this will be the 8th mosaic drawing of the Under the Wing series. It will be the 64th work when completed. So right now I'm doing pencil drawing. I know this is archaic, but I'm kind of enlarging it by hand from, there's one photo I printed from a photo I found on the internet, which I photocopied in large, but about 1/3 the size of how I'm drawing it. So I'm not using any technical apparatus to project the enlargement size. I'm just doing it by hand, first in light pencil. I always start with the head. If the head turns out, then I will proceed into drawing the rest of it first in pencil and then in ink. So I'm probably going to have to go to 2 sheets of paper based on the size of this paper and the composition here in the photo of Delmastro seated on this ledge, which makes me dizzy looking at it, even though it's a photo. He looks as if to be like seriously high up, a few thousand feet maybe. So my intention is I'm going to draw his whole figure here is seen down to the bottom of these like hiking boots, shoes, the backpack, and so on. And then my thinking is I'll have the landscape, the rocky precipice ledge here, and the sky will be mosaic sections. So to be continued. And I should add also that Delmastro was not a victim of was not a Holocaust victim. He was a victim of what Levi described as the child executioners of the fascists in Italy, and as the Italian fascism murdered plenty of people, they also helped round up and deport Jews to Auschwitz and other camps from a number of cities, Rome, Ferrara, elsewhere. From my perspective, the crimes of Italian fascism and Nazi Germany and Austria were one and the same. So anyway, there you have it, to be continued. All right, May 10th, doing this kind of incrementally, section by section, stage by stage. I just added a chicken here, based on an undated drawing I did of a chicken some years ago, which is here. And then to give myself a little color reference, I pulled out photographs I had taken of chickens. I don't know, might have been in 2000, thinking here, 2003, was that 13 years ago. My mother was 84, and she flew out here from New York. A cousin and his wife, or from Boston, or actually from Florida, I'm sorry. A cousin and his wife, originally both from Manhattan, flew up from Oakland, and we went out to the Olympic Peninsula, the interior of which is actually very mountainous, but towards the coast is where we were. And we stayed in a motel one night the owner, or maybe it was the manager, had a chicken coop where I took these chickens photos, which gave me a good reference point for, I have to look up what this area is called on a chicken, like all around their head and eyes and so on, and beak. So anyway, there you have it. I have to figure out what to do in terms of my notes. Say Sandro Delmastro liked cows, chickens, sheep, and dogs. So we got the sheep, we've got the chicken, and a cow and a dog are kind of next on the to-do list. I also have the whole section of between his like ankles and where his knee is, which could also have imagery there, as I've done in other drawings in the mosaic drawing combos. So there you have it for now. One chicken. Yeah, a little over an hour later, it's coming along here. Yeah, a little while later. I think I'm going to go over it at home with some of those black lines with white opaque gouache dots, if not lines. Still early to tell also, because this is only half finished here and I haven't done the boots or the calves and the hand at all yet, and all forearm. Well, if Sandro Delmastro had, as described by Primo Levi in the periodic table, Il Sistema Periodico in Italian, I'm reading here this sentence, or most of the sentence. He had a curious mimetic talent, and when he talked about cows, chickens, sheep, and dogs, he was transformed, imitating their way of looking, their movements and voices, seeming to turn into an animal himself. Well, I'm going to take that. That's almost probably 70 years since poor Delmastro was murdered by a 15-year-old whom Levi described as a child executioner of Mussolini, but in lieu of his hands, seen here in the photograph that I've done the drawing portrait from. Of course, I've added the wing, as you see there, which is also metaphoric. I've decided to draw a horse. So the other day I went to Seattle Goodwill, found an excellent encyclopedia of horses and ponies by a British author, Tamsin Pickerel, who I just looked up on the internet. She was born in 1971, the daughter of a veterinarian and an art teacher. And Ms. Pickerel herself is an art historian and author of various books on horses and so on. So I found, I think there were about 7, maybe 8 pages of horses of Italian origins. It was actually very fascinating going kind of perusing the book over the last several days, because I have little knowledge of horses. I rarely see horses. When I lived downtown in the Pike Market, I used to see the Seattle police officers on the kind of, I don't think what the term is, what they're called, horse detail around downtown. And I also used to see back then horse and carriage, these poor workhorses on the Seattle waterfront on Alaskan Way. I've only had the occasion to be on a horse once myself. I was around maybe 12, 14, and I remember being at least petrified for probably a good couple of minutes, and the horse took off on what seemed to me like a furious gallop through these woods. And anyway, I was okay. The horse is okay. No horse since then has asked me to hop on and take a ride, and I'm just as grateful. But what was most interesting about reading, kind of perusing all these different pages of horse, I had no idea that there were so many different types of horses from so many different regions, even countries. Scottish horses, Welsh horses, what have you. Various parts of North, South, Central, Eastern Europe, all through into Asia, South America, Africa, North America, and so on. Who knew? Well, maybe I can say, hey, you learn something new every day after all. So here's the pencil outline. I've decided to do the portrait horse in colored pencil, and we shall see how it turns out here. And so why shouldn't I was thinking, why shouldn't I do a visual mimetic transformation of my posthumous portrayal for tolerance education of Sandro Delmastro's hands into a horse's head. Makes total sense to me. Seagulls in the Scottish coast and the east coast of Scotland. Sheep. We have one cow here, one chicken, another larger cow here, and the bird's wing from a bird from Argentina that I drew at the ornithology lab at the Burke Museum of Natural History at the University of Washington in Seattle. Okay, to be continued. June 3rd, 2016, progress report on the drawing of Sandro Delmastro, which will be Under the Wings 64. It's coming along slowly, but surely. So I'm now working on these almost like knee-high socks he was wearing, as seen in the photo on this cliff, pinnacle, edge, whatever. And then I'll be doing the boots here. The cow I drew from an old monochromatic postcard I have from Britain, from I think looks like 1930s vintage. The chicken I drew from a drawing of a chicken I had done some years ago. The horse from a photo in a book. I'll include a description info in the text. A book I bought recently at Seattle Goodwill, kind of like an encyclopedia of horses. Very interesting book. These little sketches of sheep and the seagull there. More seagulls here in this kind of landscape I drew on a hillside in a few miles north of Newborough, Scotland on March 15, 2015. So in this area in the photo was his upper torso shirt, then his arm. I've done a magic realist metamorphosis of his left forearm and hand into the horse portrait. This was the area of this really large extending out backpack he was wearing. And the wing I drew from a bird's wing in the ornithology collections at the Burke Museum of Natural History. I believe it was a teal, a type of duck, and it was from Argentina. So to be continued. I'm going to see if I can get a dog in there. He was very fond of dogs, horses, sheep, and so on. Delmastro. Maybe I can get a little portrait of some dog study in here. So there you have it for now. And as soon as I get the drawing done, I'm going to start preparing the base wood, and then the frame that the drawing will be inserted in. That will be in the center of the mosaic that will be made to surround the drawing. There you have it for now.